Feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the Central Pennsylvania Shrimp Tank, brought to you from our temporary studio here in Dillsburg, yes, the metropolis of Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. I'm your host, Nathan Imboden, and you can find a replay of every one of these interviews we get to do with Central Pennsylvania's best and brightest small business owners and entrepreneurs on our website at www.shrimptankpodcast.com/CentralPA. Also, go to our Facebook page, search for the Central PA Shrimp Tank, click that like button, or go to your favorite podcast app, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or nationally through the iHeartRadio platform. Search for our podcast specifically to keep up to date on everything that's going on in small business and entrepreneurship in Central Pennsylvania. And we like to say this is a podcast by business owners for business owners. Nothing against going and getting your MBA, because most of us are educated in some way, shape, or form, but we really feel like it's valuable to hear from those people that have actually done it as well and have lived out being a business owner. So this is the mission here, is to bring that message of small business ownership and entrepreneurship to all of you focused around Central Pennsylvania. And we're still in the middle of our series right now called In the Crosshairs of Corona. As you know, we don't know how long the we'll call it the reverb or effects of the shutdown, the stay-at-home orders, the business closures are going to really have an impact in our community. So while we're still going through this, we're going to continue to bring this mini-series and focus on really what businesses have had to go through and adapt to in this time to stay relevant, thrive, survive in some cases, but also look forward to the next phase of life, whatever that looks like. So today, we have Greg Drake, who is one of the co-owners of 360 Tour Designs. I believe I got that right. And I know you guys pivoted a little bit as well, and you did some really great things during this, we'll call it time of, I hate the term social distancing. I'll say social, well, I don't know what it's called, what the best way is to describe it. But anyways, enough about me. Greg, why don't you come on and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about 360 Tour Designs, really what you did and what your kind of core business was leading up to March and the fateful shutdown time.
Sure, absolutely. I like the shutdown. I don't know. I like that term versus the social distancing thing,
Yeah, that's good.
It's really tough because we all love each other. We all want to be together. And
yeah,
that social distancing thing is just so unloving. We have to abide by it, but the term is so cold,
Well, and the odd part about that term is we still connect, like a lot of what we've done, and I know we're going to talk today a little bit about the virtual aspect of staying connected with people, which a lot of that's done through social media. And so that's how we are connecting. So you're not necessarily socially distancing, you're actually socially connecting, but doing it through a different way. But anyways, I'll digress.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, at 360 Tour Designs, we're actually a franchisor of real estate marketing concept, basically, is the best way to describe it. So for you, if you were going to sell your home, you would reach out to a realtor, and then they would market your home in many different ways to sell it. And we have a million amazing realtors out there, but we would do the photos, we would do drone imagery, 3D imagery, social media, basically anything that a realtor would like us to do in the framework of marketing a listing for sale. And we do that commercially also.
Okay. And so we go through, I know most people that I was talking to in just about every industry was saying first part of the year was banner year, whether it was sales or activity. It was just, everything was going in a great direction. 2020 was looking like it was going to be one of the best years that they've ever had, businesses have ever had. And then boom, shutdown happened. And especially in real estate, where I don't remember, it feels like it was years ago, and I don't remember all the rule changes and whatnot, but real estate was heavily impacted because you couldn't really show houses when our counties were in the red. I don't know if you could still transact just virtually, but talk us through a little bit of that. I mean, you would have maybe a lot of business that just got squashed very quickly.
Yeah, well, we were also looking for a banner year. We had actually increased our staff by 30% in January and February, and working on training them to be ready for the busy season, which weather dependent starts around mid-March and then runs through the end of summer.
Yeah.
So right around when we expected the escalation, we were in the shutdown. Now, nationwide, because we are a franchisor, we actually thrived in every state but Pennsylvania. But that was because Pennsylvania was the only state not to allow real estate to be essential. In those areas where real estate was, in the other 49, where real estate was considered essential, we're not in 49, but in the areas that we're in, we actually saw an uptick in our business because although real estate was still functioning, people were hesitant to go into a home for showing. So the better you market the home, the more you can see in the privacy of your home. And people were actually making buyer decisions based on sight unseen in many ways. And then what they did nationally and here at home in Pennsylvania was that they allowed the buyer to purchase the home sight unseen, but then once they were out of the shutdown area where, so to speak, whether it was yellow, green, depending on the state you were in, here it was green, to be able to then sort of do a walkthrough and have almost a right of refusal and say, well, I didn't see this part and no, I'm going to be able to walk away. So that here in Pennsylvania especially helped the industry continue to move forward. But there were a lot of parameters that were set in place since real estate was non-essential. There were dates, for example, when a transaction could have moved forward, because you could have put an offer on the home before, say March 15th, but you weren't going to settle till April 30th. And so how would that happen? And so there became a lot of this, well, if, ands, or buts because of the way the real estate industry works. And a lot of that was worked through, but much of it was just stopped cold at a certain point. And they said, well, if you haven't put an offer on by this date, you can't put one on until we come out of it again. So there was a lot of listings going on, but those listings had to be done in a very creative way. And that's what we did here in central Pennsylvania. We went out and started to focus on virtual type of activities like, okay, what can we do to help the realtor and the buyer and the seller at least do that sight unseen view and continue to, sell homes, or at least enter into an agreement on a home without anyone ever leaving the privacy of their own home.
Yeah.
So we came up with things like, we actually did, we were already doing, but we upgraded it, virtual staging. So we could take a vacant home and plop furniture in that to enhance those photos.
Okay.
We did FaceTime consultations. So basically you want to sell your home. Normally a realtor would come in there and help you. Well, we think you should do this. We think you should landscape. We think you might want to paint these walls, all of that stuff. We did FaceTime consultations. We have a staging sister company, and that sister company did FaceTime staging consultations with people. So literally walking room to room and saying, well, that room looks great. Well, it's a little cluttered. You might want to get rid of these things. So that was something that helped the seller. Additionally, then we created 2 new services where we actually did a how-to video for a seller to be able to take their own photos or take their own video clips, then upload them to us, and then we would enhance them and make them better.
Okay.
We all know what iPhone photos are great, and it doesn't matter what model they come out with. Nothing beats a 7 exposure, top of the line camera photograph. But that's what we were given. So we worked within that framework. So
sure. Yeah.
So those were a lot of the different things that we did to sort of pivot and keep going in the industry to help our clients.
Yeah. So how many states are you guys in now? How many franchises do you have in different states?
We're in 17 states and we have 21 franchises at this point.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. We started in 2014 and we just had a couple territories here. And so from 2014 to 2020, we've grown significantly. Just went through the last 2 years, we went through becoming a franchisor,
Okay.
creating a franchise system. Before, we were using independent contractor agreements, and that wasn't good for either party. It wasn't good for them. They didn't really have a good business, a good asset to sell when they wanted to have an exit strategy. And for us, we weren't able to have the consistency and branding that we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
things have been excellent since we made that move for both sides.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh man, there's a lot more I would love to dig in on that. And I think we talked about when we get back to our normal series, having you in, because there's a lot of people that are interested in franchise models, whether it's becoming a franchisor or becoming a franchisee. And so I'm sure you got a lot of great tips. Again, you did it. You did it. You created it. You've operated it. So good for you guys. Love
to talk about that sometime.
Yeah.
It's literally what we do. We're passionate about helping small business be successful. And that's what a franchisor does, right? They help people achieve the dream of becoming a successful business owner. And then after they help them achieve that dream, then they educate them, they coach them, and they get them to that success. So it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, and I love talking about it.
Yeah. So the last interview I did, we pretty much boiled it down to the reality that being a business owner and an entrepreneur is more about mindset than anything else. And you're talking about a situation where you kind of get your back put up against the wall. And instead of just kind of retreating and saying, well, I can't do anything. Governor's telling me we can't sell real estate, or we can't do this, or we can't do that. You're looking at saying, okay, he's saying we can't maybe do these activities, but how do we still be relevant, stay relevant, help our consumer, ultimately fulfill our mission, which is exactly what you were doing. But I know, what are some other things that you did or you maybe focused on during these 3 months as well to either stay relevant, stay top of mind, enhance skills or offerings that you can provide to people going, as you saw, eventually we're going to come out of this shutdown. So we're going to be ready for that. Was there anything else that really you grasped and just took a hold of?
I think number one was just trying to stay in touch and take care of our owners and stay in touch and take care of our clients. We also own and operate several of our own franchises in the central Pennsylvania area. So reach out to the clients. How are you doing? Is everything okay? Is there anything doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be business. Is there anything that we can do for you in this time? I had one realtor that I reached out to one day, and she just happened to have a mother that was going through cancer treatments, and she herself had some lung issues. So they literally were shutting themselves in. And she said, I would pay $100 for toilet paper right now. And I said, you know what? I know where to get toilet paper. So I went out and got toilet paper and dropped it by her house. It's like that you have to do, not have to do, that, you want to do for your clients. And if you just call them and listen to them, that's, we just need to take care and love each other. It doesn't matter what business you're in or what competition you're in. If we just treat each other like humans and take care of each other, the world's a brighter place,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know you did, you had or started a Facebook group called Central PA Supports Small Business. How long ago did you found that? And it's because it's grown. I don't know how much it's grown. I'm just a recent joiner of it. Just recently discovered it, probably, 6 months ago, if that, 4 months ago. But when did you start that and why?
Well, I started in late March, and I just had this, what's that?
Just this year that it started.
Yes. Yeah. I started it because of where we were at and the situation we were in. And I just had this almost calling, start up this group. People need positivity in their life. There's a lot of small businesses struggling right now, and just how can we go out and help them? And so it was just sort of an innocent little thing that I thought, if I could just help one person, and maybe we'll get 50 people on this. And we just broke 9,000 members this week. So super, super excited about that.
Yeah. Well, in addition to that, so talk about you do something thinking, well, maybe, like you said, maybe I'll get a little traction, but then boom, it explodes. Well, now you've got 9,000 potentially captive individuals that you can get a message out to. And you also took advantage of that. I know we talked at one point on our interview on your outside the box that you do about, you talked about friendly competition and how what we're doing, what you were doing with outside the box is in some ways a little bit, competitive wise, even though we both recognize that the end message is helping small business, getting message out there and doing all that. But how, I'm curious to see what have you gotten any, other than positive feedback from individuals, have you gotten any tangible results, if you will, from starting that group and doing your outside the box that you've done every day, which, by the way, if those of you who are listening haven't seen, what Greg was doing was every day at noon, he had a show called Outside the Box where it was just shorter, 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes, depending on the topic, of just different topics about positivity, how to run a better business, everything from marketing to communication to whatever. But a quick plug for you on that. But
thank you, appreciate it.
But have you gotten any tangible results from that? That's just a curiosity question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, the results that we were looking for going into it were to help small business. And so we did shows on the PPP and how to help people with that. And we had great response to that. We did shows on the unemployment and sole proprietorship and how to apply for that. We did shows where we connected people with marketing opportunities, and we talked about how to grow small business through the period. We talked about how to pivot. We promoted restaurants like crazy because they were able to do takeout, and the results are just, I could go on for days about it. We're just so pleased with what's happening. And we would like to continue that into the future and try and sort of pivot in a way a little bit. We feel like that old way, and no disrespect intended to the LATIP groups, the Chamber of Commerce's, things like that. They're all doing a wonderful job in what they do, but how can we build on that? What can we do to really help the small business owner? And so we're going to be putting a group together of small business owners that are really energized and would like to be part of this group and see what happens moving forward. Love to try to figure out a way that we can continue to help the existing small business owner, but also a new small business owner that is ready to get up and running. How can we get ourselves in front of them, maybe give them some education up front, maybe even find them some grant money, things like that. I think most of the organizations out there are focused almost 100% either financially or mixer. That's one or the other. And there really hasn't been a group that's focused 100% on education. And I think that's where this group would be, is if the goal is for us to cultivate small business owners and to ensure their success, mixers and finances are one thing, but how do we educate them and help them and open the door of opportunity for them to grow, whether it's a hair salon, whether it's I want to be a franchisor, doesn't matter what it is. Whatever your heart is, whatever your passion is, let us help you get to the success front.
Yeah. Well, that's a fantastic idea. That is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, we're really excited about it.
Yeah. Well,
I'd love to have you part of the group too, if you're interested.
Absolutely. I was going to say that offline because I didn't want to throw out an offer and have you say, well, I don't know, Nathan. We'll take it under advisement. But
sorry, I put you on the spot.
No, perfect. It worked out well.
I think you would be a phenomenal addition.
I'd love to. So the other thing I noticed with that group is, you've got individuals who, let's take me, for example. I think I have maybe, 900, 1,000 contacts on Facebook and, or friends, however you would say that. And if I go out and I want to place a recommendation, find a recommendation for something, it's pretty much limited to that group of individuals. I see constantly running through the Central PA Sports page, hey, I need a recommendation for a roofer or whatever. And you're getting 9,000 potential people that see that have access to, oh, wait, I worked with this person, I worked with that person. And the ability to get, it's almost like an Angie's, I don't want to use that term, but it's
no,
like
you can. That's exactly.
And I'm just thinking about myself. I need a mason. We have some work we need done on a chimney, and we've tried to go through some independent channels to no luck. And as we're talking about this, I'm thinking, why haven't I gone on that page yet and said, hey, I need a mason for chimney work. Any recommendations? And, you know, I've seen in some cases 20, 30 recommendations of different places. So a fantastic opportunity for then those individuals that have then nothing, they've had $0 in marketing, but somebody asked for a recommendation of app, please, client and customer saw that and push their name out there, and it helps that business too. It just, when you think about the ripple effect of all that, it's phenomenal.
It was an unintended yet an absolutely amazing result of it. And you're right. People go on and they say, I need a mason, I need a landscape or whatever. And people, like you said, businesses will go on and say, hey, you know, I'm here. But then underneath that, people say, oh yeah, this person did great. This person did great. And it's almost like a live Angie's List, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that effect has been pretty amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's look ahead now and look at, as we've now are starting to reopen, even though not every county in our area is green, but as we're looking to reopen, what do you see as, you know, what's to come and what your outlook is? And then also, what things have you done that you've kind of adapted here these last 3 months that you see as a probable kind of, I hate the term new normal, but we'll use it, new normal for how you're going to do business going forward that actually makes things better and enhances what you're able to offer?
Sure. We see right now a lot of cautiousness in the market. So we're back to what our normal sales would be at this time of year, but we sort of thought there'd be a makeup of, you know, the time we were off. And so I think that if you are in a certain county, and here in Pennsylvania, you know, Lancaster County is still in yellow. You know, we forget about that because Cumberland, York were the first to go green, and we just think everything's fine here. And I went for a hike. On Sunday up in Perry County, decided to stop and grab food, and I walked right in, and I'm like, where's everybody at? You know, and they're like, oh no, we're still yellow. I'm like, oh yeah, right. Sorry about that. So yeah, it makes it a little complicated. So we believe that the future is still bright in the real estate industry, barring any type of setback. And that's yet to be seen, whether this is going to be like the flu and we've got a winter thing to go through yet. Or, you know, the main thing is we've got to get vaccines and we've got to get hopefully cures. And that would be wonderful news. But
yeah.
I think until then, we're going to have some cautious optimism, you know, in the market, and we're going to have the positive part of that for the potential new small business owner and existing one is that we're going to see interest rates stay very, very low.
Yeah.
Maybe even pre-2000, or I should say the 2008 to 2012 low, if not lower in these times. Yeah. And so it will be a good opportunity for small business owners to either consolidate what they already have out in loans, to expand, to buy some equipment, to start up a new business in this time. I think it is something to really look at, is to reinvest in your company during this time. And those are some times that we get a little afraid of those opportunities because, well, I don't know why would I spend more money right now? Well, the interest rate is so low that you may actually save some money in that, long-term especially. And you set yourself up for success in the future. And don't forget, this is the most important thing that I always say to everyone, is the more a small business owner spends making their company better as a group, we're investing that in other companies who invest in other companies. And that's how it turns into something amazing. We grow by spending sometimes. So obviously cautiously, but we're in a time where we feel this is a great opportunity, just like 2008 to 2012 was a great opportunity. I think it's all in perspective. As far as what we've learned, my goodness, I could go on for days.
Sorry.
If anything, it's made us extremely efficient, so much more streamlined and efficient than we were before. We've learned how to thrive in a stay-at-home environment and a stay-at-home economy. We are considering downsizing our corporate office. Our lease is going to be up soon. The trust factor for us with our team has skyrocketed. We now have proof that our team can work at home and be more productive. And it's just amazing. You know, they talk about the water cooler effect all the time, and it's a social thing and awesome. But when you're at home, there's no water cooler. There's just time to work.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I love or don't like that part of it, but our teams have been very productive at home. We're extremely proud of them. And we've been able to, through Zoom meetings, through you know, working together on the phone and other things. I mean, it's been pretty amazing. So that's number one, much more efficient moving forward and much more productive.
Yeah, I would second that. And I know that's the same with our team. That's done an unbelievable job. We're going to be doing the same thing, reevaluating what our, we'll call it, corporate needs are from a space standpoint. But a lot of people worry about culture when you start to shift away from that environment. And I know for our team as well, they've gone out of their way to stay engaged with each other, to stay connected, even though in the ways they could. And, you know, as I look ahead, there are plenty of people that say, well, you know, I can't envision that, because if people aren't in the office, I don't know if I can trust them and, you know, to get their work done. And my response to always that has been, well, then you have a people problem, not a culture problem. If you don't trust, and maybe that's on you too, but if you don't trust who you got working for you, there's one of two things. Either they're a bad hire or you're a bad manager for not trusting them and not giving them the opportunity to shine in that environment. So, yeah, I think
two things to that. One is that I actually, this is my little admission of guilt here, as an owner, we have someone that lives in Reading and is part of our marketing team. And I had her drive up here every Tuesday for the marketing meeting because I didn't think Zoom was a good use of the time. I wanted someone right in front of me. I wanted to be able to see their face, their reaction. I just thought it was more productive. Now I'm like, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? We're much more productive on Zoom now that we've learned how to do the screen shares and stuff. You know, we'd sit around a table, and I just remember we had the conference room, we've got the TV up there, and every time someone wanted to share a document, it was, hey, change seats here, and I'll plug in and I'll show you my screen. And now you're just like, screen share, boop, there it is. You talk about it, you move on. Oh, great. You can see, I can see your reaction. You know, if you're, we talked about this right before the show, but if your reaction is, you know, I can still see that on Zoom. I'm like, wait, whoa, what's the matter? Are you okay? Was it, you know? So it's just been absolutely phenomenal, and we just have to trust our people more. But the other thing I was going to say, there's so many other opportunities, and if you're concerned about that, do it in steps. You've already put everyone at home. Don't bring them back all at once. Do it as a test. That's what we're doing. I brought one person back in the office right now for safety reasons. Yeah, but also as a test. Now we're talking about a few weeks later, we're going to introduce one person 1 day a week. And then we're going to introduce another person on a separate day a week. I want to see how that dynamic comes together. And, you know, we may do weekly or bi-weekly or monthly a lunch, bring everybody in, you know, because I do agree we have to build our teams as well. But that's the other thing I would just say is just, if you're not sure, then test it. We're in a perfect time to test. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, you said something that I think is so important for everybody to hear, which is you made a decision, you realized that maybe it wasn't the best decision, but you were aware enough to recognize that it wasn't a good decision or there was a better decision. You adapted, you learned from it, and you figured out how much better things were on the back end. But also that idea, that mentality of, I'm still a person. Yes, I might be the boss, I might be the owner, but I'm still a person. I still may not make the best judgment calls or whatever. I have to be aware of that and be constantly looking to improve or own up to stuff that I might have done that wasn't the best for everybody, and move on from it and learn from it. And that's absolutely key mindset as well. If you're not learning, you're not growing, and if you're not admitting mistakes, you're not helping your team at all. You're not helping your business. You're not going to grow that way. Yeah. Admit your mistakes and move on from them.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so I like to wrap up the interviews with just a question about continuing to spread good in the community. And you've already done a lot of good things, but what organizations, individuals, whatever it might be, have you seen in these last 3 months that have really, in your opinion, shined and gone above and beyond to thrive, help the community, whatever it might be?
Well, there's so many just with all of this. Melissa Miller really comes to mind. Melissa's company is Made to Keep, and she does graphic design and she does specialty cards and things like that. But she just took that talent and turned it into the COVID care packages that she collected. But she didn't just collect packages. She helped the healthcare workers buy it. She helped small business by bringing them together and using their product. And so people would donate, and then she'd take that money and spend it back into the business community to gather items up to give to the health workers. Just an absolutely amazing person, and a great business mind, a great organizer. Like I said, I know we have limited time, but I could give you another 10 examples of people in this that just blossomed during this time.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we will be sure to give her a shout out in this as well to give that recognition. I know I've seen, yes, you're absolutely right. It's such a cool idea and you talk about the ripple and trickle down effect, because raising the money, raising awareness for healthcare workers, supporting small businesses through them using the money that was raised to purchase products that were care packages for those individuals. Just, all around an awesome idea. So we will be sure to shout out to her for the great work she did.
Brilliant nonprofit. Brilliant nonprofit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Greg, for anybody who is, now that we are phasing back into, from a real estate standpoint, especially a more normal time, if anybody is interested in learning about your services, what you guys can do to help them in either as a potential franchisee, or whether it's a realtor, using the services for selling a home, what's the best way for them to find out about you or get in contact with you?
Best way, if they're interested in a franchise, would be just to go to our website, 360 tourdesignsfranchises.com. That's a great way. They can also just reach out to us through our regular website, 360tourdesigns.com. Or they can, I always say, go on Facebook, friend me, DM me. That's great. You can call me, 717-877-4434. I don't care. I'd love to talk to you. Doesn't matter whether you're interested in real estate or you just want to talk business. Give me a call.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Greg, thank you so much for being on. We're going to have you back on. We can do a full show to talk a lot more about your experience in starting the business, starting the franchise, all that good stuff that you learned. But thanks for sharing your experience, and just I think another classic and great example of the ability to pivot and the ability to take this crisis as an opportunity to thrive and shine, and it'll be much better for you on the back end after all this stuff settles, whenever that is. So thanks again for sharing. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Pleasure being on with you today, and thank you very much.
Awesome. So everyone at home, again, one thing that really stood out for me is the idea of, if we think about the Central PA Support Small Business page, it was a little nugget of an idea that was, well, maybe this might happen, maybe this might develop from it. And instead of questioning it and trying to overanalyze, Greg just did it, and look what's happened. I mean, great results beyond what he even thought would have happened. So if I can give you one takeaway, it's, if you've got something in your mind that you really feel like this might be a good idea, I'm not really sure, just do it. Just go for it. Trust your gut, trust your instincts, and see what happens. Not everything's going to work. So if it doesn't work, don't drop your head and hang on that failure. Use that as a learning experience and move on, but just do it and keep moving forward. We're going to keep bringing these messages to you multiple times a week, probably right now, as we're still in this series in the Crosshairs of Corona. So until next time, I'll see you then. Thanks.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.